This is a KGW News Special Edition.
This is the moment the President of the United States touched down in the Rose City. President Biden spent Friday evening and Saturday in Oregon. He left just a few hours ago. His stop in Portland is part of a 3-state tour out west ahead of the midterm elections next month. During his visit, Biden spoke about helping American families and rallied support for Tina Kotek, Oregon's Democratic candidate for governor. Welcome to this special edition of KGW News at 8. I'm Christelle Kumwe. Kotek has a tough 3 weeks ahead of her, with many polls showing one of her opponents, Republican Christine Drazan, with a slight lead. Alma McCarty spoke with a political analyst about how Biden's trip to Oregon could impact the race.
Oregon isn't a typical presidential stop, not normally a battleground state and nearly 3,000 miles from Washington, D.C. So make no mistake, President Biden's second trip here within a 6-month span of time was intentional. He touted the Inflation Reduction Act and how that would help lower prescription drug costs between campaign events for Tina Kotek.
Not long after Air Force One touched down, President Biden's motorcade made its way to southeast Portland to drum up support for the Democratic candidate for governor.
This is, I think, the most important off-year election that we've had since Roosevelt's time. I mean that sincerely, because so much is at stake.
The president pitched in alongside volunteers phone banking for Tina Kotek Friday night and took part in a reception for her on Saturday.
I think it really sends a message that, hey, Oregon needs to be on the map this year.
Right now, polls show Republican Christine Drazan with a slight lead over Kotek. Unaffiliated candidate Betsy Johnson currently comes in third. On Friday, Betsy Johnson's team released a pre-recorded video message in response to President Biden's visit.
President Biden, welcome to the Rose City and to Oregon. I hope you come often, because every time you do, Tina's tent cities get cleaned up a little bit more.
Christine Drazan's campaign sent KGW a statement Saturday, which reads, in part, the D.C. political class is in full panic mode to rescue Tina Kotek's failing and flailing campaign. They know Christine Drazan is going to win this race, and there's nothing they can do to stop that from happening. To find out if the president's trip made a difference for the Kotek campaign, Republican strategist Rebecca Tweed explains, look no further than the incoming political contributions.
With campaign finance reporting and some of the other things, really seeing how much money comes in, I think will give us a pretty good idea within 4 or 5 days if his visit had the immediate impact.
Meantime, billionaire Phil Knight pledged $1 million to Drazan's campaign. He told the New York Times this week that he would do whatever he could to stop Kotek from becoming governor. Knight previously gave more than $3 million to back Johnson.
I'm sure he supports Drazan in some ways. Definitely is clear that he supports Betsy in some ways, but is most clear that it's an anybody but Tina Kotek approach to the campaign.
At one final stop for ice cream before departing Portland, the president reaffirmed his vote of confidence in Kotek.
I think people are going to show up and vote. I think it's going to work.
Now, Tweed told me expect things to ramp up in the next 3 weeks, from political ads to financial contributions. We've all seen the ads where candidates are talking about each other, but she said now Oregonians really want to hear what each candidate will specifically do and what the state will look like under their leadership.
Sorry, I can't come to work. Got to go see the press.
See somebody with that much power in person, hey, great honor.
Hundreds of people waited to see the president this morning in southeast Portland, some hoping to get a glimpse of him, while others were lined up to hear the president speak. Protesters were also along the president's route.
President Biden! Ties tomorrow, go!
They were calling for human rights reform in the Philippines and a change to President Biden's policies on the issue. About 400 people were in attendance for the president's speech at the East Portland Community Center, where he talked about lower costs for prescription drugs through his Inflation Reduction Act. Our Blair Best was there and has this report.
President Biden took to the podium around 12:30 Saturday afternoon here at the East Portland Community Center. He talked of lowering costs for American families, primarily seniors. He championed his Inflation Reduction Act, which could lower the cost of prescription drugs. He also took aim at Republicans, saying if they succeed in Congress, the cost of health care could go up for millions of Americans.
About 400 people filled the East Portland Community Center Saturday to see President Joe Biden. It's the second time he's visited the Rose City this year.
It's fantastic. People forget that Oregon even exists, right? I never thought I'd see a president come out here, so it is pretty cool.
Amber Cooper even brought her son.
It's my first time.
Who got a special treat from the Secret Service. President Biden was joined by Senators Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley and Representative Suzanne Bonamici.
And it's such a pleasure to welcome the president here for the second time this year.
Biden's focus today, inflation, and how it's impacting prescription drug costs.
This year alone, drug companies rated the price of more than 1,200 drugs higher than the rate of inflation.
He talked of his Inflation Reduction Act, which will go into effect in January. It will lower health care premiums for millions of Americans, drop prescription drug prices, and cap out-of-pocket expenses for prescription drugs at $2,000 per year.
Today marks the beginning of Medicaid's they call it open enrollment period. So when seniors pick plans for next year, they'll be able to take advantage of the progress we've made.
His Inflation Reduction Act will also cap out-of-pocket costs for things like insulin to just $35.
We're going to keep fighting for lower costs for cost of living of insulin for children and families as well. Because of the Inflation Reduction Act, seniors in Medicare Part D are also going to be able to get their recommended vaccines like shingles vaccines and vaccines without any copays.
A change that would help many of the families sitting in the audience.
A lot of my aunts are senior citizens, and they have to pay for Medicare medications out of their pocket.
Biden also targeted the Republicans in Congress.
Every single Democrat in Congress voted for the Inflation Reduction Act, and every single Republican voted against it. Every single one.
This concerned some Oregonians like Claire Surrett.
And for the Republicans to be so cold-hearted as to not recognize the real impacts for people, in their daily lives, that is very disturbing, and I hope we don't see that happen.
Biden taking the opportunity to highlight his view of the working class.
I'm a bubble-up guy. Seriously. When the middle class does well, working class people have a way up, and the wealthy do just fine. They do just fine. And by the way, the middle class built this country, and unions built the middle class.
Leaving many with a renewed sense of hope.
Because it's easy to lose hope right now. Things are scary. And so I really appreciated that he had that to say to us.
We just have to remember, who in God's name we are. This is the United States of America.
President Biden's next stop is Delaware, where he'll stay throughout the weekend. In Southeast Portland, Blair Best, KGW News.
The candidates for Southwest Washington's 3rd Congressional District faced off in a debate today. Republican Joe Kent and Democrat Mary Gluesenkamp-Perez got the most votes in the primary elections in August. Now, Art Edwards monitored the debate, and Art is joining us now with more.
Oh, that's right. You know what? This is something that people have been looking forward to see this. Regional League of Women Voters chapters hosted the event. Journalists from 5 newspapers in the district asked the questions today that range from the economy to health care and immigration. The district has been held by a Republican for more than a dozen years. Started with a question today about why each candidate would be the best person to represent the 3rd district.
I'm running for Congress to be an independent voice for Southwest Washington.
I will go to Washington, D.C. to be a check on Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, and one-party rule.
As they debated in Vancouver on Saturday, both Democrat Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez and Republican Joe Kent had strong responses to a question about immigration.
I want to ban economic immigration. If a visa takes a job away from an American citizen, we must prioritize Americans. My opponent will say that I'm racist for saying so, but I want to put American workers first because I think it's our obligation to provide good-paying jobs for our people.
That Joe Kent's plan to ban all legal immigration for 20 years is economic sabotage.
on health care.
We have got to be supporting novel approaches to bringing down the cost of healthcare to provide better benefits for all Americans.
At the end of the day, we need more competition in the market. That's going to overall benefit the individual consumers while maintaining at the same time the safety net for senior citizens and those who are disadvantaged.
And about the future of Social Security.
We have a basic math problem. The baby boom generation, it's basically a reverse pyramid. There's not going to be enough of us to support them. So we can put our head in the sand and say that things are just hunky-dory and we can continue to do what we're doing right now, or we can start looking for real new solutions.
We've got to increase solvency. One of the ways that we can do that is by removing the income tax cap and ensure that you pay the same ratio of into Social Security regardless of how much you earn.
Now, the New York Times calls it a race that has it all. A poll that was done in September by the Northwest Progressive Institute, published on the website 538, has Kent ahead by 4 points. Christelle?
Thanks, Art. One of the most anticipated races in Oregon is for governor. KGW and the Oregonian will co-host the final debate between Oregon's top 3 candidates this upcoming Wednesday at 7 p.m. You can watch it live on all of our platforms, including on KGW Plus, which you can find on Roku or the Fire TV app. And speaking of, we're still looking for video questions from you for the candidates. You can find out more details on how you can submit at kgw.com under our website's featured section. All right, and Joe Ranieri is joining us. And Joe, it is October 15th, mid-October, but we are feeling, pretty warm.
Yeah, we saw highs in the mid to the upper 80s again. Another day of record temperatures. I'll talk more about that in my detailed forecast, but I want to talk about that smoke and haze that's really been an issue for almost a week now. I looked at models when I first got in earlier today, Christelle, and it looked like things are going to be kind of thinning out in terms of the smoke. It doesn't look like they will be. I'll show you that in a quick second. But looking at the air quality map, yeah, we're looking at some poor air right now. A lot of the kind of down to the moderate to unhealthy for some groups, but also a lot of green. But this is something that should be nothing but green for this time of year. It's very strange to see, mid-October, we're looking at still wildfires still burning because we've been so dry and warm. As we look at the elevated smoke forecast, we'll put this in motion here for you. You can kind of see where it'll be really thick tomorrow morning throughout even parts of the northern Oregon coast. And again, we'll have a shift in that wind direction heading into tomorrow afternoon. Well, it will be relatively thick tomorrow, and then it'll start to thin out a little bit heading into tomorrow, or I should say into Monday. But the other thing we'll be looking at is another round of warm conditions and windy conditions as well. Right now, we're looking at some calm conditions for the most part throughout the metro area, but we'll zoom out a little bit, and we are looking at some light winds. But again, by tonight and into tomorrow, we'll be seeing our winds up to 25 to 30 miles an hour. And because of that, we have that air quality alert that's in effect until early part of next week. And again, that red color is that fire danger that is going to be in effect as well. That actually had been extended by the National Weather Service. And we're going to be seeing another round of hot conditions heading into tomorrow. And because of that, fire danger is going to remain high the rest of your week. And I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Joe. A Portland police officer shot a man in downtown Portland on Friday night near Southwest 12th Avenue and Jefferson Street. That person has left the hospital and is now at the Multnomah County Jail ever since this morning. Now, witnesses took this video just after it happened. Officers say they were in the area responding to reports of a man chasing people with a knife. When the first officer got to the scene, he found the alleged suspect and shot him. Video shows the officers handcuffing him while he was on the ground afterward. Again, he's expected to survive. PPB is still investigating. They have not confirmed if the suspect had a knife when he was shot. The suspect is facing several charges, including attempted assault in the second degree. The officer involved has been placed on administrative leave, which is standard procedure for PPB. Now to 2 incidents this weekend involving pedestrians and TriMet. Now, this is video from a serious crash on Friday night when a Max train hit a person who was on the tracks in Beaverton. Now, this is near Hoken Avenue and Milliken Way. We're still waiting for word on that person's condition. The second incident happened in Portland earlier today on 33rd and Broadway. PPB says a person hit their head while dodging the train, and they should be okay. Now to Portland's homeless crisis. Mayor Ted Wheeler is set to announce a plan next week to address the problem. According to Willamette Week, that plan includes a proposal that bans unsanctioned camps citywide and builds some large sanctioned camps as alternatives. According to the report, the mayor wants 3 500-person homeless campuses, and the city is looking to have these new proposed sites managed by outside contractors. Now, there is no indication yet where those mega camps will be or how an unsanctioned camping ban would be enforced. Some of the people we talked to in Old Town say unsanctioned camping long-term is not a good option, but also say mega camps is not a good idea either.
I can understand that. But in order to tackle that issue, you have to have a solution first. And this is not a solution. It's not a solution at all.
It's an entrapment. Like Rachel was saying, we need to have a solution to end the problem.
We also got some reaction from Multnomah County Chair, who shared a letter she got from Mayor Wheeler and Commissioner Ryan on this. It is generally lays out a plan and puts responsibility on the camps on the county. To that, Kafuri wrote, quote, "If the mayor's office wants to clean up the city and enforce time, place, and manner laws, they don't have to hide behind me or anyone else. They can just do it." End of quote.